Roth here of RotoGrinders, and today we're going to talk about the RG Discord. If you're not a member, you should be. It is a fantastic community and resource that RotoGrinders provides, and it's easy to join as well. All you have to do is click the Discord icon on RotoGrinders or go to rotogrinders.com/Discord. From there, you'll either sign up if you're new to RG, or if you're already a member, just click the link at the top to go to the sign-in page. Once you've logged into your RG account, you can be taken to Discord to log in there. Once you've connected those accounts, you won't have to leave the server. You can freely close out and reopen Discord without ever having to reconnect. The idea of Discord might be a little bit daunting to you, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Whether you're on mobile or desktop, the far left side will show you the Discord servers that you've already joined. Then next to that, you'll see the channels within that Discord. We have both free channels like Chiefs Prop Shop and our daily sport channels, and we also have premium channels like Blender's Game Theory or the Crunch Time channels. Premium members can see the difference between the free and premium channels by looking for a padlock icon next to the premium channel names. We also have a few pointers for new and experienced users alike. If you're having trouble finding a channel, make sure that you haven't collapsed the section that the channel is in. Collapsing a channel will only allow it to appear when there are unread messages in that channel. Also, we find that using the actual Discord program works better than opening it in a browser like Safari or Chrome. Lastly, if you're having trouble with one of our tools, your RotoGrinders account, or any other technical needs, you can hop in our feedback and help section of channels to get help from one of our wonderful support and moderation team members. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter @RotoGrinders or email support@rotogrinders.com. See you in Discord.
Grinders, welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blenderhead, Blender HD. If you want to follow me on Twitter, and it's Wednesday, March 16th. Still got about three more weeks of basketball, right? We had a 4-game slate last night. If you didn't have Kyrie Irving, you were dead pretty much. And then we got 12 games today. And it's all split up. It's all 7, 7, 7. Okay. I can go with that. 7:30. Okay. 8 o'clock. Okay, that's fine. And 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10, 10:30. It's going to be a long night. I don't even know if I'm going to play tonight. Not even sure. Right? There's enough early games. I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe I don't. But maybe, I don't know what. It's a 12-game slate. What can we cover at 11 o'clock in the morning? With LeBron, SGA, Beverly, Van Vliet, Seth Curry. Oh, we got tons of people that we have to wait on, right? Tons of people we have to wait on, but I'll wait on you. I'll wait on you in the YouTube chat. So feel free to type in your questions, your comments, your concerns, your live streams, whatever you want in the YouTube chat. Give me those thumbs ups on your way in the door. Thummy thumbs, hit the thumbs ups. It helps us out. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. We now got more content on the channel. We got NHL stuff, right? I think on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We got the Scores and Odds YouTube channel with all the betting stuff. We got Grinders Live later today. We got Crunch Time for premium members. We have some college basketball, some March Madness stuff coming up soon, and F1 racing. I don't know if there'll be a YouTube show or anything with the F1, but I believe I see in our internal Slack they're working on adding F1 to Lineup HQ. So hopefully, from what I'm seeing, I'm looking over there. Hopefully, they'll have some type of Lineup HQ up for F1 on Sunday. That's coming from Stevie, who handles the NASCAR and the racing stuff. So if you're into F1 racing, they've added it to Draftkings, and hopefully we'll have something soon. Not this week, next week. I don't know how many events they do. I have no idea. I don't follow any type of racing whatsoever, but it's being asked. It's been asked. So I just wanted to let everyone know that RotoGrinders here, we're working on adding F1 stuff at least the lineup HQ to start. Maybe Steve will do some content. I have no idea. Literally no idea. They added it like I think yesterday, 2 days ago. Added the F1. Here we go. Right. So just like with anything at RotoGrinders, we cover it all. We pretty much cover every sport that's offered on Draftkings and FanDuel, which includes basketball from yesterday. Basketball from yesterday. If you did not have Kyrie Irving, was in 100% of the top 1% lineups. Yeah, with 87 points on a 4-game slate, that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen. And Tyus Jones, he got there. I mean, got 28.5 points, but it's only 3,400. Pretty much you needed Grizzlies. It seems like you basically needed Grizzlies and Kyrie, and then maybe Bruce Brown or Devin Booker, maybe. Bane had a nice score, but I mean, he only ended up in 30% of the top 1% lineups. Let's see who else. Melton, I mean, that's another Grizzly. Anyone else down here? Any weird guys? Any weird guys? I don't see any weird guys. Even though in the top lineup on DraftKings, winning lineup had Isaiah Livers, min price on Detroit. Because Detroit, all those players were out for Detroit, but it seems like no one got there, right? If we look at Detroit, we had Cade Cunningham out, right? Cade Cunningham out. I had a ton of Sadiq Bey. And it was very spread out. Basically, that's what ended up happening. The production was too spread out. Actually, Killian Hayes probably made the best value on the slate. Well, Killian Hayes and Isaiah Livers, I guess. Right? Because Sadiq Bey, 25 points for 6,000 ain't going to cut it. Jeremy Grant, 33 points is, you don't have a snowflake, but you don't have a flame emoji. Olynyk, Joseph, Stewart, Hayes, Bagley. I mean, just kind of all spread out. And then we had, with Indiana, we had Goga out. So Isaiah Jackson was fairly popular, 31%. But I mean, the Pacers got blown out. I mean, that's what that was the theme of the slate. Like there were two big blowouts, right? The Pacers got blown out and the Magic got blown out. So like the Magic guys couldn't get there, right? Moritz Wagner got there, right? Because garbage time, right? We had Brzezikis in and Fultz 17 point. Yeah, no one did anything for the Magic. Jeez, right? Wendell Carter, I mean, didn't really get there for 30. I mean, raw points, just like Cole Anthony. I mean, on a 4-game slate, like you don't need like 7, 8x from all of your players. You just need raw points because not everyone is going to score that much, right? If we sort by points, I mean, look at the highest. I mean, even in a blowout, like Cole Anthony was still one of the top scorers. There's Irving, Booker, Hero, McCollum, and then we have all the Grizzlies, right? Bane, Jackson, Melton, Steven Adams, right? Tyus Jones over here. Okay, let's take a look at across the board as far as exposures. I played on FanDuel last night, so it's slightly different, right? Slightly different. I still played tons of Grizzlies, obviously. But I played a little too much Sadiq Bey in the small forward spot. Okay, we got Tyus Jones. Dylan Brooks was mega owned on both sides. He was like 50-something% on DraftKings, on FanDuel. 20 points ain't gonna cut it, right? Because it pretty much Bane did most of the damage in that first half. But Tyus Jones on DraftKings, 81% owned. And if we take a look across the board of all the sharp players that I have saved here, all over that. Oh, no, DeColts wasn't over. Okay, 79% of them, right? But look, RBX locked him, Ahabro locked him, Oxenduck locked him, right? 98%, 100%, 98%, 89%. Don't have to get cute on a 4-game slate to fade the widely best projected $3,400 player projected for 30 plus minutes. There's no reason to do that. Dylan Brooks at 4,900 in the shooting guard spot. I mean, he was eligible at more positions on DraftKings, right? Shooting guard, small forward. So I can understand playing a lot of him. So yeah, across the board, look at the numbers. See all the green. 60% owned. And for the most part, either at or above that, or, around that at least. And we take a look at someone. So how about the Pistons? How do people handle the Pistons? See, Sadiq Bey, 25% owned. And a large portion of the sharp players way over that. Jeremy Grant was a little bit more mixed, right? Then not much else. Then really not much else here. Like Corey Joseph, a little bit. People played Rodney Magruder. Well, maybe Petty Theft did, Squirrel Patrol did, but not much else. Right? People didn't really react as much to Cade Cunningham as they did with the Grizzlies. It worked out. Then we take a look at the Pacers. Isaiah Jackson, 5,200. For the most part, other than the Colts with like 4%, pretty much, he was 31% owned, and more people were over on that. Right? It doesn't matter what happened. This is why you review it like this. Like, well, who did well and what did they play? Like, Isaiah Livers. How much Isaiah Livers exposure did people have? He was 0.8% owned. And other than Kobe for MVP at 3.3%, Nerdy Tenor at 3.3%, Squirrel Patrol at 0.7%. So it's like, well, I can't believe I didn't play Isaiah Livers. Well, no one else did either. Right? So you didn't miss out on anything. Like if you didn't get much Isaiah Livers, it's not like you did anything wrong because the best players in the world didn't either. That's the reason you look at things like this. This way, like you look at Kyrie Irving, 16% owned, right? At 10-2 on DraftKings, especially when there were a lot of guards. I mean, we had Tyus Jones, we had Dylan Brooks, we had a lot of guards already with better value that paying up at guard wasn't going to be as popular. That's why Kevin Durant was way more owned because he fits in the small forward, power forward spot, which was weaker yesterday. All right, so we take a look here. Kyrie Irving. I mean, he was owned, right? 16% owned, but no one really smashed him. I mean, even Petty Theft only had 25%. I mean, you can see here Petty Theft had more Kyrie than Kevin Durant. He barely had any Kevin Durant. But he had a ton of Drummond. Drummond only got 18 points because it was a blowout. Goran Dragic, 8.75 points. Most people were over on Dragic. Same for Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown mixed over here. So if you played a lot of Kevin Durant last night, well, you were on board with most of the sharp players. Played way more Kevin Durant than Kyrie Irving, but it primarily because of a positional issue. If John Morant was in and Tyus Jones was not a value anymore, you could still play him, I guess. I mean, it wouldn't be owned much. Then it's more likely that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant's ownership would have been closer to one another. It's more likely that it would have been Kevin Durant 22% owned, Kyrie Irving 20% owned, than 36 and 16. But that's the reason. It's not like, people thought Durant would do so much better than Kyrie Irving. It's like, no, just small forward in general was not the strongest position yesterday. Small forward, power forward. So paying up there for raw points made more sense than with Devin Booker in another guard spot. Right? If we take a look at the small forward spot, I mean, look at this. You had Durant, Bay, Butler, who got hurt. I mean, you barely had anyone here. If you paid down, you're paying for like Franz Wagner, Michael Bridges. I mean, for what, Jay Crowder? I mean, there's just really, projection-wise, there's not really much here. The power forward spot, you got Isaiah Jackson, but still not much else, right? So if you use Durant, I don't know if Durant is small forward eligible, power forward eligible on DraftKings. I think he is. There's not much here, but if you go to like the guard positions, you got a point guard, you had Jones, Dragic, Hampton, Brown, Irving, Anthony, Brogdon, Payne, who's a little bit expensive on DraftKings. Go to the shooting guard positions. You had Brooks, McCollum projected very well, Bane. I mean, you just had a lot more options at the guard positions that you're more likely to spend the salary for raw points in small forward or power forward. But that's the reason. Not like, they liked Durant over Kyrie. No, it's a construction issue. Looking through the YouTube chat. Good morning. Good morning, Suki Singh. Typically here the earliest. Matt Mears, final spinner. Mike B. Daniel Hutchings, aka Nerdy Tenor, Trey, MJC. Daniel says he needs to spend some time with the F1 scoring system. Yeah, I think it's slightly different. From what I mean, I'm looking on Twitter. I didn't look at it. There's a captain in F1, right? There's something like that, right? There's a captain, and I don't know. I have no idea, right? But it's different. It's different than NASCAR. That's all I know. MJC says, Blender looking forward to MLB DFS. Are you a fan of the bat? Yes. The bat by Derek Hardy is the projection system that is the baseline projection system that I use. So if you want to, I don't know if the subscriptions to the bat are on sale yet, but get it. That is the baseline that I use. The bat and the blitz, both by Derek Hardy, both projection systems by Derek Hardy in NFL and MLB and NFL are what I use as the baseline. I always say as the baseline. I may change some things, but as the bare basic baseline, I start with the bat. And if you want to, I think out of all the projection systems in the industry that are available publicly that you would have to pay for, there's some free ones. I don't. Some of the free in baseball and basketball, yeah, none of them. Yeah, if you're getting free projections, you're getting what you paid for. I think the accuracy in a lot of those free projection systems are not as good. They're not. They're better than none. If you're using some type of free projections offered somewhere, that's better than you having no projections. So I don't want to downplay that. Oh, some of these free projection sets are not the most accurate, but they're still way more accurate than trying to do it in your head. Okay, so use some type of projection set. But in baseball, especially, the bat has a slightly higher R value than anyone else in the industry, and it also has way more variables. So if you wanted to be a little bit more different than other projection systems, Cardi's is Cardi. You see stuff in the bat every day with MLB. You have to like you have the wheel, right? You really have to trust the numbers. Okay. That's all. That's with the bat, especially, right? You want to be on the wheel, right? You know, I'm playing MLB DFS. I'm in control, 10-2, right? You're making lineups. Oh, that stack, that picture, that whatever, like that. Then once you get the bat, you just take your hands off the wheels. And when the top pitching value is a 3% owned Drew Smiley, and you go, why does he project so well? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then more times than not, it actually works out, right? Sometimes you just, you got to play this team against that pitcher or whatever. And then you see the projections aren't that good in the bat. But around the industry, maybe slightly, significantly enough better that you get different ownership, especially the pitching, right? The pitching in the bat, like, it gets weird. It gets weird. And dude, over the course of a season, it doesn't always work out or anything like that. But over the course of the season, those pitching projections are scary sometimes. Where it's like everyone's paying up for this guy, and like the bat has him as like the 8th best salary adjusted value pitcher on the slate, and he's going to be 40% owned. And the best salary adjusted value pitcher on the slate is some $7,800 guy that it's like why does he get a boost? Then goes out and he pitches 7 innings. One gives up 1 hit, right? 9 strikeouts, and he's like 6% owned. Then even better, if people are stacking against that guy, you get even more relative value. So yes, I would suggest the bat. And of course, Cardi's going to be on a ton of shows once baseball season's back. April 7th, he'll probably be on opening day. He'll be on Grinders Live. He'll be on Crunch Time tons of times. So if you subscribe to the channel here and watch, and subscribe to RotoGrinders, and he'll be on Crunch Times and everything like that. But when the bat is available, it may be available now. Maybe it is now. Let me check. Is the bat available? Because it's an add-on. You have to be a RotoGrinders member, a subscriber, click on the link in the description, get $10 off your first month. So you get access to Lineup HQ and our RotoGrinders projections and everything and all the content here. But if you want Derek Hardy's projections, right, you go to rotogrinders.com/the-bat or something like that. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't think it's on sale yet. I think it'll be on sale soon. Whatever. I mean, I'm already in no matter what. So like it's hard for me to show that on the screen. But if you want that, we'll look at it. Follow Derek Hardy on Twitter, and he'll obviously tweet about it when that is ready. MJC says, "Yay, may need to make a leap and investment. I hear only good things. It's slightly pricey, but it's extremely underpriced. All projections in the industry are extremely underpriced. The bat probably for a 162 game season, which it may not be this year, the bat probably should cost about $5,000 to $7,500 a season. Probably should cost that, right? Projections around the industry should cost a lot more money. Like our NBA projections alone should cost $2,500 a year, a season. It should. So when you say it's like, oh, it's only $40 a month. Yeah, it's extremely cheap for what you get. Extremely cheap. So I consider the fact that you get baseball projections every single day from April 7th to the end of the season. You build that system. Let's see how long it takes you to build that. It would cost you way more than $5,000. So that's why that's the value of it. But some type of decent projections. You can use the RG projections. That's fine. Those are worth $1,000 or whatever. This is a game of numbers. Once you understand that it's a game of numbers and so you're playing a math game, what's the most important thing? Having the best numbers. And then arranging those numbers in the best way so you have a better chance of winning than other people. That's it. That's what DFS is. So if you're going to start with no numbers, you're way behind. You're extremely way so much behind. Do you need the most accurate? No, I mean, on a season-to-season basis, there's variance. If you're like, I don't want to use the bat, I want to use the RG projections, that's fine. That model is good. Doesn't have as many variables as the bat, but still better than no projections. If you want to get projections from other places in the industry, that's fine. I'm not beating the drum of like you got to get RotoGrinders stuff. Like you got to get projections. Either you're building your own model, or you're using someone else's model. You got to use something. It's a math game. You need the numbers to begin with. For you to just pick, I'm just going to pick randomly. Oh, this guy, the wind's blowing out here. Oh, this guy, it's a revenge game. Like, that's not accurate. In very small samples, you may go, oh, I was right about that guy. But did you back test? Did you back test your takes? No. You'll remember all the times that you were right and not the 700 times you were wrong. Yeah, Daniel Hutchins is ready for Rougned Odor. What team? He's not on the Yankees anymore. What team is he on? Rougned Odor. He moved, right? He's on the Orioles now. Oh, that's going to be great because they're horrible. So he's obviously going to play every day. Right? He's going to play every day. He's going to bat sixth. He's going to be 2,900, and he's going to be in 60% of my lineups as a one-off at second base or third base or wherever the hell he'd be eligible. Right? Those are high variance players. You have to understand the standard deviation of baseball players are not equal. Hunter Renfroe, right? Or what is that? That's Hunter Renfroe, right? It's the same, different spelling than the football player. Rougned Odor, Joey Gallo, right? Someone like that. Yeah, he hits 50 home runs and also strikes out 200 times and has more home runs than singles. 50 home runs on the season and 26 singles. That's it. Those types of people, they don't score. He has a median projection of 9.6. Like the guy doesn't score 9 points ever, right? He's going to score 2, 0, 2, 4, something like that, or like 14, 18, 26, something like that. You're not going to get 8 or 9 points out of that guy. No, of course not. He's 3 singles. He's going to have 3 singles and a run. Like he doesn't hit like that. His standard deviation is much higher. Then you have the slap hitters that it's like, oh, he's projected for 9.6 points. It's like, yeah, okay, but he's probably not getting 22, right? He's probably not getting 0, right? So you're probably going to get 5 points, 5, 9, 7s, 11s, some type of thing like that. So the standard deviation is smaller. Okay. Masher says, I tried to adjust the bat using the props market last year. Did not work. The bat was sharper than the props market. Yeah, you can use the bat for props. There are a lot of people that did that last year. The bat has statistical projections also. So it's not just a projection set of floor, ceiling, fantasy points, stuff like that. It also gives the breakdown of like every category for all the players. So even if it's fractional. So you could go by, home run props. There'll be, a home run prop on Nelson Cruz is plus 200. And you see in the bat that Nelson Cruz has a home run projection of 0.4, right? Which would be a 40% chance, which would be plus 150, right? So that would be the correct odds. The correct odds on a Nelson Cruz home run is plus 150, and if you find a plus 200, that's plus EV. Plus 200 is 66%, right? So you're getting paid as if it's a 33% chance when the bat has it as a 40% chance, right? You could use statistical projections of the bat for that. Right? You could add up singles, doubles, whatever you want, right? You'd also use it for totals, for games and pitcher props for strikeouts, because it'll list that as well. You'll see in the bat, you like projected, some pitcher projected for 6.2 strikeouts. And you look at the prop market and you go, oh, over 5.5 is minus 110. Like that's probably a profitable bet, right? Now, obviously, if it's over 5.5 at like minus 140, then it's not. Right, you always have to add the vig in, add the money line in. How much is a strikeout worth on the money line? You have to have those figures. Like that's the thing that people don't talk about when it comes to betting on props. The line on the prop bet matters. So it's not a matter of I think this guy's going to throw. This guy's projected to throw 6, 7 strikeouts, and the prop market on the strikeouts is 5.5. So I'm going to bet that. Are you going to bet that at minus 170? No, of course not. At minus 170, it's actually a negative EV bet, but it's over 5.5. Yeah, but you got to lay 170. That was a minus 110 bet. Sure. Okay. Yes. Plus EV. Minus 170. No, the line might as well be 6.5. Minus 170 is essentially is a 6.5 strikeout bet at even money. Something like that. Right. So now when he's projecting for around there and it's even money, now it's all your expected values come. Right. So it's not just picking stuff. The lines matter. The money matters. Let's see what else in the YouTube chat. Feel free to type in. We don't got much to talk about today. I know there's a 12-game slate, but then it makes it even harder to talk about. Right. Yesterday at a 4-game slate, the likelihood of news happening in a 4-game slate. Oh, maybe we could start talking. Maybe. Oh, what's going on? John Morant's out, right? And then there's still stuff happening. Cade Cunningham ended up out. Golga was out. Right. Stuff still happened on a 4-game slate. But 4-game slate, maybe we could talk about some type of strategy or something 8 hours in advance. On a 12-game slate, are you nuts? So there's less to talk about. Right, because this is nothing like this is going to stay the same. We've got 24 teams, right? 24 teams. It's Joel Embiid's birthday. Is that a narrative today? Who is he playing? He's playing Cleveland. So it's Joel Embiid's birthday, so that has to mean something, right? This is what people without projections do. They go, oh, it's his birthday, got to play him. Will Barton is playing near his hometown of Baltimore, Maryland, got to play him, right? They do stuff like that. There's no accuracy to anything like that. Masher says, even if you build your own model, the upkeep is too much work and will divert your attention from DFS strategy, which is much more important. Yes, agree. That's the main reason why I don't build my own model. It's not that I can't do it, right? I probably can't do it as well as Cardi does. There's probably it would take me years to probably be as good as Cardi at modeling, right? So how much is my time worth? So if I can't be better than that and I could just pay $300 for a season, why the hell not? If I'm not going to do better than it, right? The NBA projections we have here at RotoGrinders. Am I going to allocate minutes? Am I going to look at usage percentages? Am I going to then regress all this data so we get the proper, simulation values? No, of course not. I could do it. Yes, it'll take me a lot of time to get the system. It'll take me weeks upon weeks, full-time work, 40 hours a week to get a model, just to get the model on par, maybe on par, maybe. Jamino's probably better than me, maybe on par. And then I still have to then put in all the inputs, which means I need to know more about basketball to put in the inputs. What is that worth? What is my time worth? Way more than doing that when I could pay $40 a month to get to that point. Yeah, my time's worth way more than that. That's the reason why I say the projections are too cheap. And people are, I don't want to pay up. I don't want to pay for these things. Dude, you know how valuable it is? Comparison to doing it yourself, it's nuts. There are tons of people. Look, Daniel Hutchins is the nerdy tenor. He doesn't make his own projections. He uses the ones that are available. He does his own simulations, sure. But he takes all the inputs that are here. Because why build it from scratch when how much time do you have? So that's exactly the same thing. Focus on the strategy. That's the thing that you can't buy, right? I mean, you kind of could buy by buying the theory of daily fantasy sports. How to think like a professional DFS player. It's a 15-hour audio DFS masterclass. You pick up at theoryofdfs.com. If you want to learn the concepts of game theory of DFS, you still have to apply them. Every slate is different. But if you go to theoryofdfs.com and buy my course, buy my seminar. But that's the main thing I concentrate on. This is what I concentrate, the game theory aspects of it. I look at everyone else does the numbers. Like I'll pay for the numbers. Now, how do I put the numbers together better than other people? Right? Why is certain lineup constructions more owned than certain other combinations of lineups? What types of contests are you playing? How do you gear the lineups towards the contest that you're playing? What affects your expected value more than other things? What is relative value? I mean, I made up the term relative value. I say it in the course all the time, relative value. How much one player's points are worth more than other players' points based on how owned they are. That's the whole goal of the game. The whole goal of the game is to score more points than your opponents. The key word in there is not more points, it's than your opponents. So people look at NBA and go, oh, how do I score 400 points? Like that isn't your goal. I've won NBA slates with 302s, right? That's probably a slate where a lot of the chalk fails, right? Because a guy that's 60% owned only puts up 10 points, and his relative value on the slate is not having him is very high. So there's 60% of lineups that only have 10 points. And if having a player that is 2% owned with 80 points, I'm not saying that happens often, is worth a lot more. Because 98% of the field does not have those points. So understanding what relative value is. What is the relative value of players? Relative value of lineups. I can put together a lineup that's like on average scores more points than other lineups, but so much of the field has those points also. So they're not as valuable to you. You still need points. You can't just, I'm going to play all 1% players. Well, 99% of the field don't have those points. Yeah, but you still need, how many raw points is it? Right? I don't, if a guy is 60% owned and is going to put up 50 points at 3K. Well, how do I beat out the field if he puts up 50? Well, 60% of the field has has gotten a 15x out of a minimum price player. I can't make that up in relative value. I can't make up that many points in relative value not having that player. I'd rather have that player with 60% of the field, knowing that 40% of the field is dead, right? Those are the types of concepts that are in this course. And you got to, and then you start with the numbers, and that's it. It's not that it's really not that complicated a game. Once you take out of your mind that it's sports, right? That's why, like F1, I don't know anything about F1, but I'm pretty sure that within a week, once if you give me some projection, some some type of system type of thing that spits out numbers, and you show me the point system and the construction types and the ownership and everything, I could probably beat it. There's only so much time in the day to play all the sports, but some people do it. But it's the same type of concepts. That's why you can see some of the best DFS players in the world. Well, they play like all the sports. Do you think they know a lot about all the sports? No. They're doing the same exact thing. MJC, how many unique lineups do you typically like to have on any given night in NBA? It doesn't matter. I like to have plus EV lineups. Depends on what I want to risk. That's a risk. You could play one lineup. You could play 3 lineups. You could play 5 lineups. You could play 300 lineups. If you typically, if you start the question with how many, the answer that's an improper question for DFS. How many or how much? Typically, I don't know if I can think of a question that is valid that starts with those words. How many lineup? Whatever lineup, as long as they're good lineups. Look at what I could do. Here's in lineup HQ. Here. I'm gonna put out. Here's 10 lineups. Here's 20 lineups. Well, let me do 5 lineups. I'm gonna do 5 lineups, and I'm gonna have just one unique. It doesn't matter. Just give me the 5 the best median lineups. Okay, I got to modify my player pool. Come on, I already put this in 0, 0, 0. Fine, give me 5 lineups. Okay, so here are 5 lineups. Right, the highest projected lineups: 286, 285, 284. 284, 284, right? Who cares about the ownership? Whatever, right? So here's the 5 best projected lineups. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to exclude all these players. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to exclude all of these guys, just all of them. Keep on going. Keep on. Anything with an RG value that's positive, I'm just going to get rid of. Just get rid of all of them, right? I'm just going to get rid of all of these players. I'm excluding them. They're not in my player pool, right? There you go. Okay. Now I'm going to make 150 lineups. Okay. Doesn't matter. Unique players won, whatever. I'm just making 100, making a ton of lineups. One hell of a ton, right? And you tell me which would you rather have in the largest field GPP? Would you rather have the 5 lineups, the 5 best projected lineups that I made? Or would you rather have 150 of these lineups that are coming up? And I can tell you, I guarantee, I'd rather have the 5 lineups in the beginning than 150 of these. So this is almost done. Here's 150 lineups. Okay, let's see. What do these lineups look like? Right. Oh, total ownership is 50%, and the projection is 255. Right. Look at the ownership here. 255 compared to 286. So you're dropping 31 fantasy points of median. And of course, you're getting very low owned lineups. Would you rather have 150 of these? And these are only at the top. What's at the bottom? Scroll all the way down to the bottom. You probably still get 253, right? Because it's all just garbage players. Not garbage, but like just low median players. That still fits to 50,000. It's still, you still have guys here. But like, which ones would you rather have? No, I'd rather have the 5 good lineups than 150 bad lineups. So the number of lineups doesn't matter. Would I rather have 150 good lineups? Yeah, of course. So the lineups matter, not how many you have. Let's say you were going into a casino. Okay, you go into here's the option that you could have. A casino game where you're betting on the flip of a coin, a fair coin, where you call heads or tails and you get paid 4-1. Okay, 4-1 on your money. Or you go play roulette, standard roulette with two green numbers. That is minus 5.25% or so expected value. You're guaranteed over the course of time to lose 5% of your money. Would you rather have one 4-1 bet on a coin flip or 150 black or red bets on a roulette wheel? It doesn't matter. Well, how about 100? How much can I win in 150? No, it does. Compounding negative EV things doesn't make it plus EV. It just makes it more negative EV. You're actually hurting yourself. So you'd much rather make one bet of plus EV on a coin, one bet like that, than 150 bad bets. So it's not a matter of how many; it's a matter of the actual lineups. I'd love to make 100. I'd love to make 150 bets on the 4-1 odds on the points. I'd rather that, but if that's what you're trying to do, if you're building 150 lineups, you're trying to build 150 plus EV lineups in comparison to the field. The same thing you'd do if you build one lineup or two lineups or three lineups. So just building more lineups doesn't mean anything, right? Having 50% of a player doesn't mean anything. Well, what lineups is he in? Right? I could look. Imagine me. I'll look. Imagine Jason Tatum goes off today, right? Here's my 150 lineups. He's 2% owned, and I have 83% of them. And Jason Tatum puts up 70 fantasy points. I probably still do not win this slate. I probably lose money on this slate. Well, but you have 83% of a 2% owned guy. Yeah, but they're all, look at all these lineups. These are horrible lineups. Right? Yes, I have him in more. So what does it matter what the percent of the exposure is? Doesn't matter. The lineups are awful. So who cares if, the guy's 20% owned, I'm going to have 40%. That doesn't mean anything. In and of itself, that doesn't mean anything. That's a representation of your diversification. But are the individual lineups plus EV? Are they good lineups? Saying 40% of someone doesn't mean anything. If they're in bad, look, I built 150 bad lineups on purpose just to show you. These are all bad lineups. These are lineups that are unprofitable. So having 79% of a guy, who cares? Rudy Gay, I'm going to have 75% of him. You think you could win like this? No, of course not. Because each individual lineup is horrible. So don't talk about how many, how much. Build one plus EV line. Done. Build a second one. Build a third one. Build a fifth one. Build a 20th one. Build a 50th one. Whatever you want. You build 50 plus EV lineups. Well, I have 70% of this guy. So are the lineups you're building good? Yeah, it's okay. Do you want 70%? Then you come down to want. Do you want to risk 70% of a 10% owned guy on this slate? Can you build lineups without that guy that are plus EV? Of course you can. So maybe you decide, well, I'm playing too much of this guy, and I don't want to have my entire slate, more of my slate that's decided by that person. I'm decreasing my risk by finding plus EV lineups that don't have that player in it. So that's what you're really doing when it comes to exposures. It's all just a representation of how diverse you're being. You still need plus EV lineups. Ryan Johnson said, "Why are you getting rid of the high RGV players?" Just to show an example of bad lineups. Because look, there are plenty. I've seen people have sent me CSVs of 150 sets, maybe that don't look as bad as these, but look very bad. And they go, look, but I had this much of this guy and that much of that guy, and why did I lose half my money tonight? And I look at these lineups and I go, yeah, because the lineup, you have dead spots in like all your lineups. It's like, why the hell did you play this guy? Why are all these guys together in one lineup? Well, these lineups project horrible. So yeah, so one of the 8 guys did well, but I mean, you're gonna have to. This is like lightning in a bottle type of lineups. Like, why didn't you? Why if you're gonna play 2% owned guys in NBA, why aren't you playing the chalk 40% owned highest projected guy on the slate in that lineup? You already have enough leverage. Why are you losing projection for no reason? That's what I mean. That's why I removed all those players just to make sure that I was building bad lineups and to show that, look, even if you look at the percentages on the side, well, it's so much more of this guy than the field. Doesn't matter. The exposures don't matter. Masher says, but it is a problem if your lineups compete with one another for first. It's not a problem. My lineups are often competing with one another at the top 5K to 15K GPPs, which is the biggest problem in my game. No, it's not. It's not a problem. Your lineups are more correlated with each other's, which means they will position themselves on the payout curve much more correlatively, which means your variance goes up. That's all that it means, right? You have 2 lineups, right? And it's just the difference between them is a 1v1. Most likely, wherever one places, the other one's going to place very closely to it, right? But if you don't mind the swings, you can make 20 lineups that are only one person. It's the same 7 players and then one person different. You could do that. Just understand that they're highly correlative to one another. So if one lineup does well, the other lineups do well. If the one lineup does badly, the other lineups do badly. But if that's very high variance portfolio. If you want to do that, that's fine. As long as all 20 lineups are plus EV, that's fine. You can do that. If you want to lower your risk and still build similar EV lineups, you can make 3v3s, 4v4s, and find different combinations and be a little bit more diverse. One way is not better than the other way. Just one way is less risky and has less swings. You're more likely, you put in $100 with the, I'm going to build 20 lineups and it's going to be a 1v1 difference. You're going to have a lot of slates where you put in $100 and get back 0 or get back $5, right? You're going to lose 90% of your money. There'll maybe select days where $100 turns into 10,000 also, right? Because you have first place, second place, fifth place, seventh place, and get all of those. You have a more diverse portfolio set of similar EV lineups. Now, when you lose on a slate, maybe you don't lose 90%, maybe you lose 40%, right? Maybe you lose 20%, maybe you win 20%, like the swings are smaller. And then when you win, when one of your lineups win, you come in first place, but you're probably not coming in second and fifth and seventh. Your lineups aren't as correlated to each other. So when you win, you're not winning everything. I mean, that's why if you play, I'm going to have a core group of people and then switch out a couple. You may have a night where you win the entire site, right? You come in first, second, first, third, eighth. This contest, you're in multiple contests, and next thing you know, you've won everything. When you do a little bit more diversified, you're probably not you're going to win one, but not the others. By the end, if you ran this out 1 million times, you end up with the same amount of money anyway, right? Pretty much. So if you can end up with the same amount of money anyway, me personally, my risk tolerance is I'd rather decrease my risk then. If I could keep it very similar EV lineups in my portfolio and reduce my risk, why wouldn't I do it? Rather than maximize my EV to the nth degree. I don't need all the money. I don't need to have swings where I'm up and down $150,000 at a time. Ryan Johnson asks, what are some players you want a lot of shared? I have no idea. The players don't matter, Ryan. What I would suggest is that at 6:30, this is what I would say. This is literally what I do, Ryan. Literally. Show up a half an hour before the slate, load the projections, and build lineups. Other than that, I don't see. I don't. I physically don't understand how you cannot do that. What I will do, I've showed it on here before. I'm going to add all the players back. Okay. You show back up. All these numbers will be updated. Maybe this guy's out. Maybe this guy's in. Maybe something got changed. Maybe the starting lineup has changed. I have no idea. I don't care. All I care is about these numbers. And you know when the numbers will be the most accurate? Closest to lock. So if you just showed up closest at 6:30, all you have to do is go to rotogrinders.com/lineup HQ, right? You literally have to know nothing about basketball. Nothing at all. You could have literally never heard of Giannis, never heard of Luka, never heard of Joel Embiid. Who's that guy? I don't even understand what a PG is. What is a C? What does C stand for? Control? What does SF stand for? I have no idea. There are obviously positions in a basketball game. I don't know what they do. Literally never watched basketball. I don't even understand the concept of basketball. Right? 120 to 118 is the totals. How do they score points? I don't know. There's probably a basket. I think there's a basket. Right? How much is a basket worth? I don't know. How about the 3-point line? Oh, there's a line? I don't even know what is this, a circular court? What does the ball even look like? I don't even know what the ball looks like. I don't know. Do they play with a small little ping pong ball? Do they try to shoot it into cups? I've literally never seen basketball before. Someone like that will destroy you in DFS by literally just using these numbers and putting together lineups. You don't need to know anything about the sport. Just have a projection model, right? That's all you need. And then the people on our projections team are putting in the minutes and usage. They know about basketball. That person may literally have never seen the sport be played, never even heard of the sport, and will probably beat you at DFS by just playing it as a math game, because that's all it is. Once it's all in numbers, I don't care about who the players are anymore. So these are the numbers. So like who to play today doesn't exist as a question. How do I build a lineup with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that fill these positional spots up to 50,000 salary? How do I put the numbers in these for the contest that I'm in better than other people, so that my chances of winning first or winning more money are more than other people's? And then just that's it. You're done. It's like I'm rolling a 500-sided die, and can I get 650 to 1 odds? Can I get 620 to 1 odds? Or can I get 400 to 1 odds? And now I'm negative EV. That's all you're doing with lineups. That's literally all you're doing with lineups. So that's why do you think I'm hyping projections? That they're going to be more accurate than any human being would. Like there's no human being that could be better than a properly regressed projection model. You may be putting in the inputs though, right? You may be putting in the minutes and stuff, right? We have someone like Petty Theft. He has his own model. He puts in his inputs. So it's not a matter of he knows basketball more than, for the minutes. It may be more accurate when it comes to the minutes and usage by this much, by a smidge. But he still has a model. It's not like he's just picking people out of a hat. Oh, I think this guy's going to do well today. He may go, I think this guy may play a little bit more than people think. I think they're going to go big here. I think the matchup over here. And then he adjusts that type of stuff. But then he still spits out numbers and makes plus EV lineups. Right? That's the difference. That's what all the top DFS players do. We look at results DB. You look across this list, right? It's still talking about people that are using models and projections. It's still numbers, right? They're still using numbers. Some are much more number oriented than other people. Someone like Nerdy Tenor that just downloads the projections and runs simulations, doesn't know anything else, right? His algorithm is learning how to play. He doesn't even care, right? The whistles go the same thing. He's not watching any of this. He's writing computer programs to put the numbers together better than other people. That's it, right? Right, we take a look. Brick 75, Brian Hooper. He hasn't watched basketball in years. He doesn't know any of this. Yet he does well in all DFS sports. Hasn't watched baseball in years. Still crushes baseball. Why? Because he has a model he puts together and then puts the numbers together better than other people. I mean, it's the same exact Chipotle addict and Popagate. Same exact thing. They're not going, oh, I think this guy's going to do better than that, because they're not thinking that way. That's what the model is for. That's what the projection system is for. Now, how do I put together the numbers better than other people? Ryan Johnson says, what's your best strategy if you don't have the building software? Then subscribe to RotoGrinders. Like, literally, this is what I use. It's not like I'm doing anything different than other, like, dude, I use our RotoGrinders projections. We have ownership. We have fantasy points. We have the floor and the ceiling. We have everything. This is what I use. NBA is my most profitable sport in my 6.5 years of playing DFS. With multiple GPP, with large field GPP wins. I use our projections. It's not like I'm saying, oh, sign up for RotoGrinders to use these projections. And me, I do my own thing. No, this is literally what I use. I think Nerdy Tenor, right? Daniel's in the chat. He does the same exact thing. All he's doing is doing this. Yeah, he's putting into his sim software. He does his thing. Me, I use game theory. I may not be as precise as Nerdy Tenor, but I probably on average probably have much higher EV lineups than he does by using game theory. Those concepts you could learn in my course. It's the same exact thing that I just literally talked about with relative value. How could I build lineups that have the highest projection for the lowest ownership possible? Where's that balance? Right? Can't build lineups that are really low owned because they're probably not projected very well. They're probably too low projected. Then I shouldn't be playing lineups that project the highest because they're also going to be too high owned. So how do I win those slates? I'm going to be sharing points with too many people. So there's a middle ground. Where's that middle ground? Building lineups that have as high a projection for as low ownership as possible. That's it. That is DFS for GPPs, especially top-heavy GPPs. So how do you do that? Well, what's the projection? What's the ownership? Do you need those numbers? So give me those numbers and I can build lineups. And then the third thing would be correlation. What is the correlation between players, between events of a game? And how does that affect the standard deviation, the variance, the distribution of outcomes for different players? If one guy does well, what are the chances that another guy does well? What is the ratio? What is the coefficient of that? In baseball, the coefficient between players on the same team is much higher than in NBA. In League of Legends, it's ridiculously high, right? So most likely, if you roster one guy from one team, you're probably rostering three other people also from the same team. Basketball, not as much. The correlations are very weak. Baseball is much higher. Once you know those three things, the projection, the ownership, and the correlation, you're done. Those are the three levers of DFS, as I call it. You can't have projection, leverage, and correlation, these levers all the way up to the top. Anytime that you move up that leverage or that correlation lever, that projection lever starts coming down a little. So it's like, where's that balance between those three levers? That is the game of DFS. So you can't know what the balance is without having actual numbers, right? Projection, leverage, correlation. By not having the numbers, how would you ever? Now you just purely guessing. Oh, I'm going to play a guy from Phoenix because the total's high, and I'm going to play this guy from that. Like you just be completely guessing, and maybe you get lucky. Sure, okay, that can happen. That is the game of DFS. Ryan says he usually just plays the 50-50 20-mans on Yahoo. Very new to DFS. Yeah, the 50-50s are a different strategy. The payout structure is, 10 people make nothing, and then 10 people double their money, or essentially double, kind of double. They had 1.8x their money, right? It's a 50-50, right? Which means the difference between 10th place and first place doesn't matter. Okay. So for those types of contests, you're just trying to maximize your 50th percentile outcome, right? Coming in first does not matter. You just have to come in the top half. So you have to build a lineup that has the most likelihood of coming in the top 50th percentile of the contest. Well, you know, the fun part is that these numbers here, these fantasy point numbers, are all medians or means. Close. Typically, they're close enough. Right? So they're median projections. What is a median? Median is the 50th percentile, right? If you go back to your stats classes, mean, median, mode, standard deviation, range, you know, those types, that would be very useful in DFS. That would actually be more useful than watching any of the sports in DFS. If you took a probability and statistics class, way more useful than watching any of the sports. So if your goal is now to just come in the top half, you do not care about first. You just care, how do I maximize my probability of coming in the top half? Well, you have all these median numbers of all the players. So you want a lineup that you don't care about leverage. You don't care about correlation. You don't want to increase the variance of your lineup. You want to decrease the variance of your lineup. So essentially, you want that projection level to be right at the top, right? So if you're in DraftKings right now, like what? He's playing Yahoo. I'm going to go over to your Yahoo projections or current Yahoo projections. I always have to say the word current. It's a 12-game slate, and who knows what the hell happens between now and 7 o'clock, right? So I'm going to the Yahoo projections right now, right? So these are our median projections, the 50th percentile. So what is the highest lineup that could jam in as much of this median projection as possible? Well, that's what a tool like this is. It's a knapsack problem. I'm just going to press optimize. What's the top lineup? Here you go. 292.48. Burks, Walker, Jackson, Bogi Bogdanovich, Giannis, Barrett, Capella, Eubanks on Yahoo, because of the pricing and is different, obviously, in Yahoo compared to other sites. So this, based on our current projections, this would be the lineup that you play on Yahoo. It's the highest median lineup. And your goal is to just bid the top 50th percentile. You don't care about how owned it is. You don't care about any of that. You don't care about relative value. You just care about, what's the best, what lineup gives me the best chance of coming in the top half of this contest? That's it. So you're probably just focusing around median projections. That's why Masher even says in the chat, you probably need to pay for good projections because you're probably going to be playing against a lot of people that are playing with projections, especially in cash games, right? If you're playing cash games on any of the sites and you don't have any semblance of a projection system, you're going to be dead pretty soon, right? You're going to end up with a win rate of like 30%, which is really low, right? You'll still win sometime, right? Of course. But since you're just focused on median projections, you don't have to do any of that game theory. You don't really have to do no correlation, no leverage. You don't have to care about that. Just give me the highest projected lineup, right? You may, to decrease your variance, care about you run the first couple of lineups because there may be players, there may be constructions that have slightly higher standard deviations. Now, we don't list them here in Lineup HQ, but maybe you decide, well, instead of playing some guy that may only play 18 minutes off the bench, maybe I'd rather not play that guy because his median may be 20, but his range is very wide. Like maybe, but those are like secondary considerations. Most likely, you could literally, and I'm telling you, this is something that people will not tell you. You could literally show up right before the slate and just press the optimize button and play that lineup. If you did that every day for the entire season, you most likely you'll make money. I did last season in NBA. I did that virtually the entire season on FanDuel and made 20 grand. Didn't have to think of anything. Obviously, there are late swaps as the projections change in NBA. Well, some guy's out at 8:30, and then this guy comes in, and then you have to rerun it again. But for double ups, for head to heads, for those types of things, I mean, you just care about having the highest median lineup you can. That's it. You don't have to come in first. So the strategy for cash games, you kind of remove the levers. You just like, what's the bets? Which is why people with projections typically rule the day in cash games. Because there's no other strategy involved other than, well, as long as I have decent enough projections, I'm going to have a good enough projected lineup. If you show up and you don't, I don't know who's going to do well. Who's going to, like, you're going to be dead in double ups and 50-50s. Because mostly people that play double ups and 50-50s tend to be sharp players. Right. Because it's not as exciting. Because casual people don't find it exciting. I get to double my money. I get to 1.8x my money. They'd rather I want to put in $10 and potentially win, 50 grand. There more people are doing that. And there are more ways that you could be bad at that and luck into a $50,000 score. It's going to be very hard for you to luck into a 57 to 60% win rate to above the, obviously 55% is the break even point for most cash games. It's going to be very hard for you to luck into a 60% win rate in cash games at all. Over a long period of time, right? Over years. Right. Matcher said the same thing. Even the beginners have RG or ETR or something. Hard to beat even the rookies. Right. If you're going to play those contests. Yeah, it's a battle of projections. Those contests. GPPs, not as much. Okay, so that was a jam-packed episode. I answered some stuff. We got some new people in here, right? If I see people that are new that are asking questions and saying, hey, I'm new to this or whatever, see, I have no problem explaining it. It's when I see the people that I've seen before, they're asking the same questions, that I've seen them answer, that I've answered 700 times and I've seen them ask 800 times. That's when I get kind of pissed off. It's like, dude, I watch all my videos. Buy the Theory of DFS course, right? I have tons of premium videos behind the RotoGrinders. I have a Discord. I have old videos. You can watch all this pregame show. I have 500 hours of it. And you can learn everything you want. You just have to do it. Just do it. That's all you have to do. You know what you have to do? You have to hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit the thumbs up button. Helps us out. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, like Ryan. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Grinders Live coming up later today, 4:45 p.m. Eastern time. It is a humongous slate. And maybe there won't be as much news as we think. Probably there will be. Probably someone's going to be scratched and this guy's going to move. This card line is going to be different. Who knows? But they'll have you cover on Grinders Live. And then there's crunch time at 6:20 p.m. Eastern for premium members. You could always download the RotoGrinders app to listen on the run or on the RotoGrinders site. And yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow. Not sure if I'm going to play tonight's slate because Wednesdays is wrestling night. So 8:00 I watch Dynamite, AEW Dynamite. And I may decide to just if I don't want to have to deal with late swap for all these, because then basically I could do everything up to 8:00. And then do I want to deal with 8:30, 9, 10, 5 other games? I may not. So I may just say, screw it. Right. These are the types of slates I like to play. But if I can't devote the time and the mental energy for the later stuff, then I'd rather not put in any volume than put in bad volume on the slate. But I'll still go over it tomorrow and answer your DFS strategy questions, as I always do, here on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.